Good morning, everybody. I am Lisa from Monday Morning Cooking Club, and it is just me here alone in front of the camera today. I'll explain why in a moment. And I've got Bibi, Rebecca, over there, sitting there. Come and say a quick hello. I know it's a bit weird if people can't see you.
Hello.
So Bibi's helping me today, reading your questions and comments and saying hi to everybody who tunes in. We've just got to work out some technical things. Is my sound off? Maybe that's what you need on the phone. Okay, so let's see how we go with just me alone. It's, as we all know, we're all stuck at home, except for those people who are doing amazing jobs out there working and keeping the country going. A shout out to everybody who's doing that. I think in these times, there's one thing we all need, and that is chicken soup. Everyone knows it's Jewish penicillin, and we've got to make it, and we've got to make it today. I hope that all of you managed to get chicken. I've been putting posts up all over the place since last week, and I know some stores are a bit low on chicken at the moment. If you've got your chicken ready, let's go through what you've got, and if you haven't, I'll go through some other options. How are we going with the technical side, all right?
It's just like slightly delayed, but it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, all right, so that's good. So hopefully it's live. If anyone has any issue, they can't hear or whatever, let me know, but at the moment we'll just carry on, okay? So let's start talking about, we'll talk more about other things once the chicken is on to boil, because that is the thing that takes the longest. So what you need for this recipe is 2 kilos of chicken frames for starters. So a chicken frame looks like this, and it's pretty much the chicken with all the meat removed, and your butcher, your chicken chop should do it for you. If you can't get chicken frames, then you can use wings or legs or necks or all of those. Hi, Natanya. Natty's joined us from her house. And she says looking great, which is good. I'm very happy to hear that. Thanks for joining. So we're going to put 2 kilos of frames into a large pot. Now, this is the recipe from our second book, The Feast Goes On. In the book, it says to rinse your bones and chickens under cold water. It's really up to you. Some people say rinsing them under cold water is not good because it contaminates your sink with chicken, you know, all the things that raw chicken has that we shouldn't touch or eat. If you buy your chicken from the supermarket and it's been wrapped up for a few days, I would definitely rinse it. Just make sure it's in your sink and not around the edges, and that you rinse it well afterwards. And if you buy it fresh from a chicken shop or a butcher, there is no need to rinse it. So we're going to put in 2 kilos of chicken frames, and it's about three frames worth, and that's it. Remember, instead of the frames, you can use wings, drumsticks, necks, whatever you've got. Okay, then we need a whole chicken cut into pieces. Now, the beauty of this is that in about 40 minutes into the chicken soup, you'll have all the meat from the breast that we can take off and you can eat. You can use in a salad. You can, you know, I'll give you lots of ideas at some point for that. So I'm going to put in chicken cut into 4 or 8, whatever you like. So this is a whole chicken that's been cut up. Got the legs, got the wings, and that's it. Now, I would like to go and wash my hands, but I don't want to leave you here with no one to talk to, so I'm going to stay here and you'll have to excuse me. Under normal circumstances, I would definitely wash my hands after touching the chicken. You need a big pot. Mine is huge. This is like a baby bath. It's a Bessemer pot, if anyone's wondering, and it's absolutely amazing for big batch cooking. But a 10-litre pot, maybe bigger, maybe a 14-litre pot will be actually fine for this one. No, actually, sorry, take that back. 10-litre is perfect. Okay, so we're going to put in the water. This is just tap water into the pot, about 4 litres. Now, sometimes if the chickens are big, and I think the chickens we get around here are big for some strange reason, you really want the water to cover the chicken. Can you sort of see that it's almost covering it? So I'm just going to add a bit more. But again, you just decide on your chickens. All we've got in here is the chicken and cold water. Bring it to the boil. Okay, I've put it on full blast, and this is the part that's sort of the most important, the skimming, which I'm going to show you in a second. I have to go and refill the water, so you'll have to excuse me for 1 second, and I will just be literally 1 sec. Do you want to come and entertain everybody for a minute?
Sure.
Don't want to put you on the spot.
That's okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, Jessie. Where is she?
I think she's giving blood.
Ah, that's always good. That's what we need at a time like this. I
Okay.
feel like I'm opposite.
All right. Thanks, Bibi. Okay. So the reason that Jessie's not here today, I know that you all enjoyed her being here with me last week making the cookies, and I really enjoyed having her. But as I mentioned, she is a doctor in emergency, and as of last night, we made the decision as a family that we need to keep apart. So we won't be having videos with Jessie for the time being unless we can set up some remote thing. But anyway, hey Jess, good to see you online anyway.
Leona says hello from Manchester, UK.
Oh, hey. Oh, so nice to hear from you, Leona, from the UK. I'm very excited to tell you, people in the UK and Leona, that the book will be available on Amazon UK in April. Yay, very excited about that. Okay, so I've just put in a little bit more water. Everybody who is following along should have the raw chicken, the bones and water in there, and that's it. And now I'll go on to the next step. This is the simplest chicken soup, which is why we call it simple chicken soup. The recipe comes from Lena Toropova from the Balaclava Deli in Melbourne. So honestly, if you live in Melbourne, you can call the Balaclava Deli and order your soup and matzo balls for Passover. And really, she does it so well. If you don't want to make your own, get on the phone. As far as who to call if you live in Sydney, you know, there are a few places around. A lot of the kosher caterers are doing it. I know Amazing Taste. You can also call June Edelmuth Catering. 21 in Double Bay make a pretty good chicken soup and matzo ball, I must say. And I believe that Locks in a Box are going to start chicken soup and matzo ball soon. But if you want to make your own, and it is really easy to make, this is how you do it, okay? Chicken, water for starters. And all it has is carrots, 2 carrots, 1 onion, and some dill. And that is it. I mean, you couldn't get more simple. And I promise you this soup is really fantastic. It makes a really big batch. It makes about, can I remember now? 12 cups, which is 12 to 14 cups, which is quite a lot. So you can have what you need for the family, because we're all in families at the moment, or on your own if you're 1 or 2, and the rest can go in the freezer in tubs. Carrots, up to you if you want to peel them. I personally prefer them peeled if I'm going to eat them with the soup, but it's completely your call. If I'm going to give them to my dogs, which I sometimes do, and I'll talk to you about my dogs in a minute, and the chicken soup scraps, I don't peel them because they don't mind the peel of the carrot, actually. But I think we're going to eat, are we going to eat the carrot this time? No, we're not going to. So I'm going to just chop them up.
Andy wants to know if it's going to be as good as her mum's.
This is the question, and this is the question that everybody asks. Is it going to be as good as your mum's? The problem with any other recipe other than your mum's or your grandmother's is that it's almost impossible for it to be as good, because we all love what we've grown up with. We all love what our mother or our grandmother or whoever made for us. So it's a good question. I think this is excellent, and I still love my mum's chicken soup and my sister's chicken soup. So, you know, so I'm just going to chop these up. If you are going to serve them in the soup, think about how you want to serve them. Like, do you want to serve big chunks like that, or would you want them in half, and cut them to that size, because you don't want to cut them. They actually cook really nicely, and they're nice to serve in those pieces. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm not going to put anything in yet until this comes to the boil, and you'll see why in a minute. This recipe has dill, and I always thought that putting dill in soup made it more of a Hungarian soup flavour. And I say that not in a way that is offensive to Hungarians, because I come from a Polish background. And for those of you who know that the Melbourne Jews generally came from Poland, and the Sydney Jews generally came from Hungary. It's a rash generalisation, I know. So I grew up with the flavours of other things, and as a Polish, you know, a person of Polish Jewish heritage, and my friends in Sydney who are of Hungarian heritage seem to love a lot of dill. That's my point about the dill. So it's just 2 or 3 stalks, and it doesn't taste like dill soup or anything. It's really good. 2 or 3 stalks, 1 onion. We don't peel it, okay? So what you might want to do is cut it in half. You know how sometimes you get the dirt in the root, and so you don't want that in the soup. So I suggest you cut it in half. The idea behind the peel is that it just adds, I think, a bit of colour for some. That's what word on the street is that it adds colour. Do I believe it? You know what? Yeah, but I believe pretty much anything. So onion, I'm just going to cut off the sort of bit that's a bit grubby there, and I'm going to give it a quick rinse, even though I don't want to leave you again, but I will just leave you for 1 second. I'm going to cut off that stalky bit as well. But that's going to go in. I'm going to give it a rinse. I'll be 2 seconds. I'm just rinsing the onion back, and I'm just going to cut that into 4. And that's going to go in, not yet. The next thing we need is some peppercorns and salt. And that is it. I mean, you could really go back to a more complicated recipe if you wanted and add in a turnip or some celery or some parsley, but there's just no need. This soup is all about the chicken. Okay, so is anyone following along is the question at this point?
Yeah, there are. There's a hi from the USA from Michelle.
Okay,
and
hey
a
Michelle.
Hi from London, Caroline.
Hey Caroline, so good to see you from London. It's very nice.
Worldwide.
Woohoo! It's pretty exciting actually. I'm so happy that I did my hair now that, actually, you know what, I think that I have to explain to you people watching on Facebook, because it was very funny what happened earlier. I did a little bit on Instagram stories to say, hey, like I didn't do anything to my hair or anything. Hey everyone, I'm going to be back in half an hour to do chicken soup. And then I ran upstairs. I thought I better fix my hair. And in the meantime, somebody who I won't name sent me a message to say you better do your hair before you go on Facebook Live. And I was doing it anyway. But anyway, so I hope you appreciate that I've spent 2 minutes doing my hair, putting on some lipstick and mascara so that I look reasonable. It's sort of hard when we're all staying home, isn't it? Because I find that I put on my exercise gear in the morning and that's how I stay for the rest of the day. There's no need for makeup. There's no need for anything. And it's actually quite the silver lining. I don't know if you all agree, but I think it's the silver lining of having to stay in. No need to get dressed. Anyway, so this is coming to the boil. In the meantime, you need to find one of these or something like it. You can use a ladle. You can use a strainer. You can use a spoon, something like that, because you're going to need to skim the soup. And that's probably the most important step in this whole simple process. And then I always have a bowl, just when you're going to skim it, you'll see what happens.
Okay, we've got quite a few things coming through.
Yeah.
So Grant says hi.
Oh, hi, Grant. Nice to see you.
Ariella says you look great, hair and all.
Oh, thanks, Ariella.
Alice is going to make this for dinner tonight, perhaps.
Excellent.
And Andy missed the first few minutes and wants to know how much water you put in over the chicken.
Okay, so I've got about, I've got 2 kilos of frames, 1.6 kilos of chicken, because that was a size 16 chicken, and I put in 4 litres of water and a bit. So I've just got a giant pot and my chickens are very big. So I know it doesn't make sense because it's by weight, but anyway. The chicken, you really just need, you don't even need to measure the water. You just need to cover the chicken by about that much. You don't want the chicken swimming in the water, because then you'll have just flavourless soup and you'll just have to boil and boil and boil it down at the end to get it to have some flavour. So this is just, you know, I'm just prodding it just because I'm standing here looking at it. Water and chicken, nothing else, bring it to the boil. I just want to mention that the recipe in the book does actually say to put all the ingredients in at once, and I don't think we should do that. The reason is the vegetables and the peppercorns float to the top, and it makes it really hard to skim it properly without getting out every peppercorn. So that's my suggestion, okay? Chicken and water, and that's it. In the meantime, while that's coming to the boil, and I've got it on full blast, but it's a huge pot of water and the chicken was cold, so it's going to take probably 10 minutes. I just want to talk about the upcoming festival of Pesach, Passover. So this year's Passover is going to be different to all other Passovers. What's that thing you said the other day?
The fourth child asks.
The fourth child asks, why is this Passover? No, why is this Passover different to all other Passovers? It's going to be so different for so many reasons. Firstly, we're all at home. Secondly, we all have big seders, big feasts. Many of us, like my family, do a 50-person thing every year in Melbourne, and we're not going for the first time in how long? Since I've been in Sydney. since 1988, we're not going. So for the first time, I have to make my own Seder for my family, and there'll be, I don't know if there'll be 5, 6 or 8 of us sitting around the table, but I'm now in charge of cooking the whole thing. And I imagine that there are a lot of people in the same position who suddenly, for the first time, have to cook for the Seder themselves. You know, normally, for those who don't understand how Passover works, we all go to big feasts and everybody brings something. Like my mum always did the soup and the matzah balls and the brisket, and her friend Sarah always did the gefilte fish, and Miriam always did the fruit salad. So we always had the traditions in the family, and so now that's finished for this time being. I'm sure many of you can relate to this, but that's changed. So now I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to make the Seder myself. Chicken soup and matzah balls, that's the easy part. But this year I'm going to try for the first time to feed my family to make gefilte fish. We have a gefilte fish recipe in our second book, The Feast Goes On, from Natanya's mother, Ruth. And we made it at the time and we tested it and it was absolutely fantastic, but I've never actually made it to serve. So I'm going to make it, and I want to know who would like to join me in making it, and should I do a little video of it? Like, is anyone interested? Does anyone want to buy chicken soup? Want to do gefilte fish? Because I was thinking at the same time, if you're in Melbourne, Balaclava Deli, and I'm not sponsored by them, make an amazing gefilte fish as well. So if I was in Melbourne, I'd be ordering it straight away. Anyway, so who wants to make it with me? Let me know, and I'll maybe do a little video of me making gefilte fish for the first time, and we can find our way together. The other thing, as I just ramble on while it comes to the boil, is that we have just put up on our website our Passover posts. Every year we do a overall recipes from all our books, recipes from our website, so you can get everything you want. You can plan your meal, you can work out what you need to buy, all of that stuff. That's now up live on the website. We're also going to post a recipe in the next day or two for a little biscuit that is it's called a brown sugar nutty from the new book. And it has 4 ingredients, and it has nuts, egg, sugar. What's the 4th ingredient? Yeah, I got it. And butter, I think. Yeah, and butter. And you basically cook it all in a saucepan together for 3 minutes, and then you put them on a cookie tray, a biscuit tray, and you bake it, and there is your biscuit. The recipe is with walnuts. I'm going to give it a go with almonds today because I think everyone feels a bit limited with what they can buy. So we're going to try it with almonds and see how it works, and I will report back and post the recipe for sure. So watch out for that recipe. The other thing is, I'd love to know from you all what else we can do for you in this time, I mean cooking wise. Would you like more videos? Are you sick of seeing us? Do you want us to just sit quietly at home and just keep to ourselves? Do you want us to keep posting these sorts of things? I'm really happy to do it. We can't do it all together for obvious reasons, but you know what, if there's something you want to see me do or any of the others, please let me know or let us know, because we'd really like to help in whatever way we can. If anyone's following along now, your water should be steaming. It's not quite ready yet. What happens is, as it boils, all the muck from the chicken comes out and all the stuff you don't want in your soup, and it comes to the top and forms like a raft of muck on the top. It's a technical term, and you just need to scoop it off, because if you keep boiling this soup with the muck on the top, it'll just become part of the soup and you'll have yucky, cloudy soup. So any questions while I am waiting for this to boil?
The first was that they wanted you to go over the first steps, but they can watch this at any time after it's
they
recorded.
can.
Is
Yes,
that right?
that's true.
Okay, cool. You've got 4 people that want the gefilte fish.
Yeah.
And you've got 3 people that say, don't keep quiet, keep going.
Oh, thanks.
Exactly.
Is that my family?
No, not at all. I mean, I think not.
Thank you. Okay, that's great. So you know what? Before people want the gefilte fish, we are doing it, and I think it'll be fun because I want to master it. I should give a shout out to Sarah Robenstone in Melbourne. Sarah is a very good friend of my mother's, and she's an amazing cook. So those of you who have our first book may have made Sarah's brisket, which is an incredible pickled brisket, like a corned brisket that you boil for a few hours in vinegar and sugar and water, and then you take it out and you cover it with onions and honey and garlic and you roast it, and it is the most unbelievable brisket. Maybe that's what we'll have for Seder. Have to think about that. so that's Sarah. So Sarah also, as I said earlier, makes the gefilte fish for our family seders. And her gefilte fish is my favourite. My Auntie Myrna's used to be my favourite. Auntie Myrna passed away and I never learnt the recipe from her. And then Sarah took over the mantle of gefilte fish maker in the family, and hers is outstanding. So I'm hoping that I can learn to make it and that it will be as good, nearly as good as Sarah. I called Sarah yesterday actually because her recipe, see, she's Polish heritage. And if you're of Polish heritage, you will want your gefilte fish sweet, almost like dessert level sweet. For those who don't know, I should explain, I apologise. Gefilte fish is a very interesting Jewish dish. And what it is, and it sounds hideous, is chopped fish made into patties, which is then boiled in fish stock. Sounds delicious, huh? But honestly, if you've grown up with it, it is the most delicious thing. You eat it with horseradish and it's really, really good. And the Poles eat it sweet and the Hungarians and Israelis eat it not sweet. So you have to go whichever way you want to go.
We have 2 requests for matzo balls, a matzo ball video demo. And Pauline agrees that the brisket is amazing and you should definitely make that for Seder.
Yeah, thank you.
Jackie wants to know if you're sending books out to Canada. They're not available there until November.
Yeah, it's so sad. I'm actually very sad about it. And if anyone from HarperCollins is listening, why? It's so out of our control. And I'm sorry to say we were supposed to be out in the US in June, I think originally, and then I don't know what happened, and now it's November. Unless we can't personally, I mean, we can personally send, but you really don't want to do that. It costs like $80 postage to send to the US. It's just crazy. And it's not like anyone's even traveling at the moment that we can send it over. When we all start traveling again, hopefully in, I don't know, 4 months, then I think we should just send some boxes over. I don't know. I feel for you because I wish you could have it. I feel for us because we really wish you could have it. I don't know how Amazon work, whether you can buy from Amazon UK or not, or is that just a silly idea? Anyway, if anyone's got any ideas how people in the US and Canada can get our books, maybe there's a better global book service than I know. So please send in your suggestions. Anything else?
Interesting comment regarding this being better than ScoMo's live. But other than that,
do you know what? Am I going to take that as a compliment? I'm really not sure.
I think so.
Thank you. So do you think they should put me at 9 p.m. on the ABC tonight and like stop all television and just chicken soup time? How funny would that be? We're going to interrupt this television show with chicken soup. I really hope this inspires all of you to go out and find some chicken bones, scrounge as much as you can and get as many chicken bones as you can. Even if you can't get a whole chicken at the moment, you could make this soup with lots of chicken bones. Like I'm talking 4 kilos of chicken bones in here. And you could even do what my late mother-in-law used to do. She used to put a spoon of chicken stock powder in the soup, in the pot as well. And you know what, maybe it's that sort of time to do it. The other thing you can do is that if you're buying takeaway rotisserie chicken or something, when you've got finished, like don't obviously eat off the bones and then put them in, but if you can cut the meat off the bone before serving it, put the bones aside in the freezer till you need them. They're also great to put in to the soup, so that's another idea. If you really can't get chickens, I don't think it's going to get that bad. I hope there will always be chickens. I suggest you make it more of a combo chicken vegetable, so just go the bones that you can get, even necks, as I said, necks and wings, and add way more veggies and make it like a chicken vegetable stock. You know, then you put in celery, swede, carrot, parsley. I wouldn't put pumpkin in, it makes it just way too sweet. Can I think off the top of my head what else you're going to put in that soup? No, but I would cook it like that for longer than this, probably for 4 hours, strain it, and then chop up some vegetables and cook the vegetables in the stock to serve it. And I think that would be a nice chicken veggie combo. Okay, so this is starting to get cloudy. We're starting to get some more bubbles, but it takes a long time to bring. I can tell you how many minutes it takes because we've been live for 15 minutes. So probably takes about good 20 minutes for this to come to the boil.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can you instead put a lid on it so it boils quicker?
Yeah, probably you can.
Okay.
You probably can. I don't know why, but part of me feels that it's better to do it slowly. So I don't know that there's any actually reason for that, but that's my first thought. But yes, you could. And yesterday, for example, whenever it was the other one day, who knows what day it is anymore, whatever day it was, I made a batch of soup for my family and I put it onto this stage, and then I had to go and do 50 things around the house, and I forgot about the soup, and I came back and it was fully boiling, and everyone says, don't boil it, it ruins it. Anyway, there was all that muck on the top. I took it off, added the stuff in, turned it down, and it was really perfect. So don't stress about that part of it. It's good to skim, but do it when you can do it. Okay, coming to the boil. So
Andy says come to the boil. Should she turn it down?
Okay, so so your stove is faster than mine, obviously. Well done, Andy. No, so when it's come to the boil, well, you can turn it down for the moment, yes. So just turn it down for a simmer and just hold off, because mine's just about there. I wish that you could see in here, and I don't know if you can. Hold on a second. Let's see if we can see the spot. Okay, so you can see it's sort of, can't really see anything yet, but soon you will be able to see what's happening. Any more questions while we're waiting for it to come to the boil? Anything else that you want me to cook here, standing here? I really do love to chat, as you've probably noticed. So I'm really happy to stand here and talk to my computer and to all of you. And it's really nice if you talk back to me too, so then we can all have like a little get together. So I'll just stand here waiting for you to ask some questions, or I'll just think of what else I can talk about. Let me think. I'd love to know what you're all doing for your Passover Seders, if you're doing it. For those who don't celebrate Passover or know much about it, what we normally do in our community, so I can't speak for everybody, is we get together with probably 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people, friends and family, at a big table, and it's a feast that goes on for hours. And there's lots of lovely sweet wine, and there's lots of chicken soup and matzo balls, and it's all about, well, for us, it's all about the food, because, you know, that's who we are in the Monday Morning Cooking Club. While we're just standing here, I might give a little bit of a plug for our new book, because I just happen to have a copy of it here. I just want to mention that one of the things that we're most proud of with this book is that we test and retest and test so obsessively to make sure that every single recipe is perfect. But inevitably, between the manuscript stage and the production publication stage, a few little errors always creep in. And as we're going through it for the 77,000th time, we say, we know there's going to be one, we know there's going to be one. And we've come across one that's quite significant and two minor ones. So I'm going to talk about the significant one now in case anybody's making it, because I need to get the word out. So in this book is one of the favourite recipes of all of us, particularly Natanya, who is in love with this one. It is the Russian layered honey cake. And I'm going to show you the picture of it. I know I should be able to go straight to it, but I'm not there yet with the book. Here we are. It's in the chapter called Occasion Cake, and that is a dobosh torte, which looks complicated. It's a bit of a project, but it's a beautiful thing to make when you've got a half a day spare and you're at home. Hey, guess what? Let's make it. Okay, so this is the honey cake. I'll show you.
Oh, that one is amazing. And
you've eaten it, Vivian, loved it. Okay.
Unbelievable.
So the error in this one, which I want you to know, is just it's heartbreaking for us to find this, because it's the worst thought that a recipe has gone out there with something that's not 100% correct. So I want you to understand that it's just so a mistake, and, you know, hopefully you'll all get this message before you make it. In the filling, so you make like biscuits, like big biscuit rounds. I'm going to do this on video one day. And then you make a filling, which is cream cheese, sugar, cream cheese, icing sugar, and then you add cream in. In the recipe, it says pure cream. When you add the pure cream to the cream cheese mixture, it's very, very difficult to stop it from curdling and going running and becoming runny. So you need to use either thickened cream instead of the pure cream and just follow the recipe, or use pure cream and whip it first before adding it. That's all. That's the mistake. So hopefully when you make it, you'll know that, and then it will be perfect. Anyway, the book is available. It is available at any good bookstore, many of whom are delivering. I know Corrie Perkin in my bookshop in Melbourne is delivering. Oscar and Friends in Double Bay still delivering. And try your local. And of course, Booktopia, and of course, Amazon Australia. And please, 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 if you've got the book and you do love it, please write a review. If you've got the book and you don't love it, please don't write a review, okay? No, seriously, if you love it, and I haven't come across anyone who doesn't yet because we think we love it and we think it's fabulous, please, please tell someone about that. Okay, guess what? Enough of my rambling. The chicken soup is now ready to skim. So can we just, Bibi, would you mind bringing the computer over and just, we'll have a look because I want you to see exactly what this looks like. You can see in there. And what I'm going to do, this is great. Bibi's from Melbourne. I think you have to move to Sydney to come and be the cameraman. Is just take that muck off and put it in the bowl. That's all. I
see what you mean by muck.
That. It's really mucky. You wouldn't want it in your soup. So if you can start skimming it. If you start skimming too early, you're just going to skim for longer. So you need to really wait till it's just really boiling like this. So Andy, I hope you're doing it now to your soup since you're a little bit ahead of us. And you should really only need to skim it properly once. Sometimes I give it a little, I'll show you when the screen's back there. The left back one, yeah, perfect. So I just give it a little nudge in there and it all comes up. So I'm just skimming it. This skimming thing is fabulous. Where to buy it? I think that all good kitchenware shops have them. Our favourite, actually, there's a online store called Everten, Everten, and they have so many fabulous things, including our favourite. This is the Victorinox steak knife, and we use it for every sort of chopping in the kitchen. So have a look at Everten online. I think they've got these skimmers as well. So, okay, skim, skim, skim. Once it's skimmed, it's pretty clear. Now I'm going to put in the other things. I'm going to put in the one onion, which is not peeled, it's washed and it's cut into 4. I'm going to put in my carrot, all of it, including the ends. Let's chuck it all in.
Grant also bought his from Everten.
Who did?
Grant.
Oh, good. Okay, so Everten do have the skimmers. That's great. Thanks, Grant. And then the dill. Just a couple of these. Dill, peppercorns, about a tablespoon. Doesn't matter. And salt. Okay, this is really important. If you're using kosher chickens, I would not salt the water now, okay? Because once I did that, I used kosher chickens, put the salt in, and it was just too salty. So you can always add salt later, and kosher chickens are highly salted. These are not kosher chickens, so I'm going to add about probably about a tablespoon and a half of salt. I use wholesome salt at the moment, and it's a very salty salt, so I make sure that I don't put as much as if I was using like a different sort of table salt. That's it. That's it. Now the soup is going to simmer. I'm going to bring it to the boil now. Again, you know, because every time you add things in, the temperature goes down and it needs to come up to the boil. Now it's boiling, and I'm going to turn it down, and I'm going to simmer it for 2 hours, and that's all it needs. So you can go and do whatever else you need to do. I'm going to stand here and talk to you for 2 hours. So joking. Can you imagine that? It's hilarious. Okay, so you can go and do whatever you like. I'll come back in a few hours when it's cooked, and we'll look at the next step. Although what we should probably do, I think I should tell you this. In 2 hours, so set the timer from when it starts to simmer. Check it every 20 minutes or so. Make sure it's not boiling like mad. If it looks like it needs another skim, do that. then turn it off, take it off the heat and leave it for half an hour, and then I'll come back, because the problem is you can't strain it when it's that hot. It's just too hard to work with. So let's come back maybe in 2.5 hours, let's say 12:30, let's say 3 o'clock. So let's meet back here at 3 o'clock, do what you have to do, and we'll go to the next step. So I hope your chicken soup is simmering nicely. Your house will start to smell absolutely delicious, and have a lovely day, and we'll see you later. Bye all. It's always the awkward end part.